Good afternoon. We're going to go over the watch list for January 21st, 2020. And remember, this is obviously it's a short week because today is Martin Luther King Day, a holiday for the markets and in the US. So, first thing I have up is ROKU. And I'm going to go over the bearish side of the watch list first. As you can see on ROKU, it's kind of in a downward channel, and right here on the daily it's kind of like pushing down, so you get like a descending triangle right here. So under 128, looking for a push down to probably the 123 area, maybe even down into the 119 area, 120 area. So we could see a drop down into the 120s. I think it will get bought up if it does. So I'm expecting ROKU to break down, but it doesn't have to. It can pop. So don't think just because it's showing a descending triangle it has to break down, because it doesn't have to do anything. But that's the way I'm looking at it, short. But I'll end up probably watching it in the 123 area, the bottom of this channel, to see if it tries to bounce here. And if it doesn't, it's probably going to go down to the 120s. So BA, I have on the bearish side of things, but it fell through right here, as you can see on the hourly in the middle. It fell through, and with the news on Friday. So the thing is, I keep thinking that it's gonna go down, and I have it on my bearish side. But the more I think about it, it's so much of an obvious short right here that I think I wouldn't be a bit surprised if the market tries to trick everybody into going short and popping it on everybody. So I will be watching for it to go short, but I'll also be watching to go long too, because if they flush it really quick to 320, they could bounce it really hard and fast. And BA is known for having bad news and going green, and spiking on bad news, and having good news and dropping. So, and also having massive fake out. So I wouldn't be surprised if they do a quick little dip and rip on BA to get shorts loaded, and then the short squeeze in. So I know the obvious play is a short on the weekly, and that's what makes me think they could possibly try to get shorts to pile in and squeeze them. So that's what I think, and that's what I'll be looking for on BA. And BIDU is another one I have. On BIDU, I mean, you get like this right here. You have a descending wedge right here is on the daily. So I'd be looking under 138 for a pullback to the 133 area, or even perhaps to the 130. So that's what I'm looking at for BIDU. Short under 138 to the 136 to 134, then the 130 if it keeps going down. So that's what I'm looking for at BIDU. Another one I have is WIN. And WIN, the reason I've got WIN on here is you've got a histogram divergence right here. It's making higher highs, and the histogram is going lower. So I'll be watching for a short under 150 to possibly the 145 area on WIN. We'll have to see how that plays out, but that's what I'm looking for. UNH is another one. UNH, I mean, you get this like head and shoulders right here on the 30-minute and hourly. So I would look for under 296 to have a quick drop to the 294, even the 292 area right in here. So that's what I'd be looking for, to see if this head and shoulders plays out on the hourly and the 30-minute. And as you can see on the daily, it's got like a bullish funnel. So I mean, it could possibly get down to the 280s if it stays within this funnel. So that's what I'd be looking for on UNH. Johnson & Johnson is another one. And the reason I'm looking at Johnson & Johnson, same things, divergence. I mean, divergence right here, right there on the RSI, and it's chopping right here into the 149 area. I mean, the worst case, it could go to 150 and drop down, but I think if it gets below the 148 50 area right here. If it gets underneath that, it could quite possibly pull down to the, what is this level right here? 147. So under 148.50 to the 147, 146 area is what I'd be looking for on Johnson & Johnson. McDonald's is another one. Now, I know McDonald's has been on a tear, and it filled the earnings gap right here a few days ago, and now it's getting up into this major resistance into the 213 area, and it got up there and rejected. So I would be looking for under 211 to pull back to probably the 206 area, maybe even down to the 205. But it already came back and retested this area. So I would say probably safe bet would probably be the 208 to the 206 area on McDonald's for a pullback, if it pulls back. But it's gone quite a bit, so I would like to see some kind of pullback. Another one I have is John Deere. Now, John Deere, the same thing, got a head and shoulders right here on the hourly, and it's chopping around right here. So under 176 for a pullback to the 175, then the 173.50 area. And yeah, because you can see right here, it's in a lot of resistance in the daily, in the 177 area. So I think it'll pull back and perhaps even go down to the 172. So if it stays within this little channel it's in right here. But yeah, I also see that it's an inverted head and shoulders possibly right there. So if it doesn't dip below the 175.50 area, and it gets up here, it could pop and go to all-time highs. So there is possible left shoulder head and sort of a right shoulder right here. So it could pop. So just be aware of that. But I like the little inverted, the inside candles right here and starting to come down. I mean, you can see right here, the histogram's going down. So that's what I'm looking for in Deere. And FDX, which is FedEx. FedEx is in a descending wedge on all time frames, 30 hour in the daily. So underneath the 158.90 or even 159, I would look for a pullback into the, let's see, 156.50 area, even the 155 on FedEx. Last one is Disney. Now Disney is still in a downward wedge pattern. You get the support right here. We get a couple supports right here, but it's still pushing down, and underneath the 144, I would look for 143 and even to the 142, and perhaps even if it gets below the 142, it's probably going to make a run to this 137, gap support down here, because it's been sitting in this channel up here for a while, this area. So I would definitely be watching that. Now on the bullish side, I have Home Depot. I know Home Depot's been up quite a bit. I mean, I would like to see a pullback right here, but the thing about that is that if it gets up here into the 233.45 area, that the gap is only a couple dollars away, and it's not that big of a gap. So I wouldn't be surprised if it blows through this resistance and fills the gap and even retests higher day. So the higher day, all-time high for Home Depot. So that's what I think is going to happen. I don't think it's going to get rejected. I think it's going to blow right through, fill the gap, and possibly even test all-time highs on Home Depot. So it's not that far away. I mean, it's only $7 away, so it's pretty close. And the other one I have is EOG. Now EOG, it's pulled back to the middle kilt right here on the daily. And as you can see, it started curling up and ascending triangle right here on the hourly. So I'm expecting, EOG to keep going and at least get to 88 this week. So that's what I would like to see. And if it gets beyond 88, it could even test the 89.54 high over here on the hourly. So that's what I'm looking for in EOG, is a push up to 88. I mean, you get this little channel right here. It's staying in. I mean, obviously it's a big bull channel, bull flag. So next one is Costco. Now Costco is right here. I mean, it's flirting with higher day. I mean, all-time highs right here. I mean, I think that if it gets over this 305.30 area, it's going to make a run to the 307 and test the all-time highs. So I think Costco is gonna try to break out right here this week if the market's good. So watch Costco above 305.30 area for a run to all-time highs. Target is another one. Target is in a tricky spot. It's like in no man's land right here because it's in the middle of it's below the gap up and above the gap. I mean, it's right in between the gap. Let's just put a tab here before I confuse myself. So yeah, this is where it gapped up right here, and it's right in the middle of the gap. There's nothing here in between. So I'm leaning towards a pop over 118 to make a run to the 120. So that's what I'm looking for on target, is over 118 to 120. If it gets enough momentum, I might even try to fill the gap because it's not too far away. But it also could come down and come down further before popping. So if it gets under 115, this 115.70 area, I mean, it could come back and touch the 114 before ripping. So that is another scenario that could play out. But I'm looking for target long. Shag is another one we played, and I know it's at resistance right here, and I would like to see it pull back to the 65 area and fill this gap before making another run. But I have it set up so if it comes back down and tests this low right here of the gap, that it could bounce right there too. So I would like to see it pull back to at least the 66, if not 65 area before making a pop. But I mean, it's got an ascending wedge right here. It could pop right away. So if it does, I'll probably get long over the 71. So there's two scenarios right there on Shack. Long over 71 or long at 66 if it bounces. And the last one is AVGO. AVGO, you know, I mean, you get kind of like an ascending triangle right here on the daily. I mean, you can see it right here too on the hourly. If it gets over 310, I would probably look for a push into the 315 area on AVGO, maybe even up into the 318. So that's what I'm looking for. I think that AVGO could make a pop this week too. So as you can see, it's like right. Where am I looking here? I don't know how to brain fart. Whatever. But anyways, that's going to be the watch list for the week, and hopefully this helps. You guys take notes, make alerts, because this watch list ends up being really profitable. A lot of things play out in the watch list, so make sure you take notes. And that's it. See ya.